Hi, everybody. My name is Tiffany Gaines, and my thesis is called The Lovability Project, Redesigning Women's Relationship with Condoms. And my thesis statement in particular is how redesigning women's relationship with condoms can empower them to take responsibility for their sexual health. So how did I become so passionate about this, and why does this matter? Well, it started off when I discovered that there were some key factors that have influenced how uncomfortable women are associating with condoms. Firstly, condoms are often associated with macho sexuality, promiscuity, and conquest. Also, there is generally a lack of intimacy, delight in the typical condom retail environment. And sexual safety remains a clinical or menacing subject that is preferably avoided in many cases. And the thing that really put me over the edge was the fact that 1 in every 4 Americans suffers from an STD. And a recent study at UCLA proved that if more women were prepared with condoms, this number would decrease substantially, and STDs would not be the epidemic that they're turning into. And so I decided I wanted to take this on and combat the years of masculine, dominant, and hypersexual marketing that made women feel so uncomfortable with this product that was so important. And my first intervention was designing a brand of condoms that felt feminine, innocent, and delightful. And after about 25 design iterations, focus groups, surveys, and interviews, I came up with Lovability condoms, a brand of condoms that mimics the look and feel of a cosmetic product or a fashion product or accessory. And this is a little bit of the design. So after I created a design scheme that differentiated very much from those masculine kind of designs of the past, I decided to take on the fact that condoms aren't a part of positive conversations. So my second intervention was creating positive messaging and really pushing the fact that condoms stood for self-love, and that isn't something that people usually talk about. And I made a point to include this in all of the messaging surrounding Lovability condoms, on the website and in all of the marketing materials. And in my third intervention, I decided to focus on redesigning the distribution model of condoms, because acquiring condoms usually takes place in clinical environments such as a Walgreens or in hypersexual environments like a sex store. And at first, I created a delightful online store. But after that, I wanted to go to beauty supply stores, lingerie stores, department stores, and accessory boutiques and get condoms out of that pregnancy test aisle and put them somewhere where women actually felt comfortable. So I went on foot to local lingerie stores, and the first one I went to, I was so excited to present this product to the owner of the store because I was providing for her something that stood for not just how women looked, but how they felt inside. And so I handed her the tin, and before she even opened it, when she read the label, she realized they were condoms, and she said, "Oh no, we are not that kind of a store." And this was especially confusing when I noticed that her store was filled with a lot of kinky items, but I realized that condoms were even more stigmatized than those other items that had become socially acceptable and associated with sexual pleasure. And so this gave me a really important key insight going forward for my thesis research, was that it was going to take a lot more than feminine packaging to overhaul years of stereotypes that were harmful to women's relationship with condoms. And I realized that I needed to put out into the world that we cannot let these backward stigmas persist about women and condoms. Our health is at risk. And so I blasted this message out into social media, and I got the most tremendous response from public figures such as these teen mom celebrities from MTV, as well as people who are very respected in the world of sexual health. And this messaging from me and my product started going a little bit viral. And the best part was that I received a flood of messages from women who were telling me what this idea of condoms really meant to them. And for them, condoms stood for something so much more. They were a symbol of independence, self-respect, personal health, dignity, control, self-care, and self-love. The emails that I would receive from women would bring me to tears because I was shocked by how meaningful this product really was. And what it really came down to was that for so many women, condoms stood for women's empowerment. And so my next intervention was opening up this conversation. Now that I knew women felt this way, how could we help them really celebrate this empowerment that came from being prepared? Why haven't we been really able to talk about this and share this positive connotation? So I talked to over 75 women at the NYU Entrepreneur Festival, and I really wanted to understand how could we make preparedness feel as positive as possible. And my key insight was that condoms can be a tool for social responsibility. They stood for feminism, sisterhood, but the most tremendous thing was they also could stand for setting a positive example for other women. And so with this in mind, I created another experiment, which was launching the Lovability Lady program. It was an opportunity for women to purchase Lovability condoms at wholesale prices and sell them in their local communities, but also spread this message to women that it's okay to be prepared with condoms. It's actually really great, and you should be proud. And I was overwhelmed with the response. I got over 60 applications representing 300 plus women who really wanted to be a part of this and stand up for this movement. For instance, Ann Essling, our first Lovability lady, said that she was excited to use Lovability condoms to advocate for women's health. And these sentiments were reflected by many other women from many places around the country. But what's a thesis without a few roadblocks? My biggest roadblock was when Chase Bank refused to process credit card payments for my online store because they considered condoms to be a prohibited adult product. Now, at first, I was very upset. I was confused. I felt like a victim. But then I realized that these condoms, for me, could serve as a tool for activism. And I started acting out. I started proclaiming and standing up for gender equality and public access to contraception when I started a petition on change.org to remove condoms from the prohibited adult category. And this story went viral. I was on the front of the Washington Square News, on the front page of the Huffington Post, the New York Observer, American Banker, CNBC. Reporters were calling me every day. All of a sudden, I was standing up for something much bigger than cute condoms. I was even writing for feminist magazines and blogs and sharing my opinion and my story. And other people were doing that as well. We got over 4,700 signatures on the petition, but the most incredible thing were the 600 plus comments from people who had been inspired to become activists on their own merely because this product had pointed out these gender stereotypes that we were so uncomfortable with. So in conclusion, at first, I thought that I just needed to get Lovability condoms into every woman's purse, and that was the way that I would change the world. I needed to make them feel comfortable purchasing this product, then they would have them and be prepared. But then I realized you don't need to change the world to change the world. You just need to start a very meaningful conversation, and that's exactly what Lovability did. Because it challenged gender stereotypes, it started an important conversation about gender equality, feminism, sisterhood, women's empowerment, and safe sex. And these conversations have the power to change people's perspectives. And new perspectives can change people's attitudes. And new attitudes can change people's behavior. And women who carry condoms will change the world. Thank you.